Do you need to be an entrepreneur in order to run a house cleaning business? It is a great question, and we're going to talk about it today. Hi there, I'm Angela Brown, and this is Ask a House Cleaner. This is a show where you get to ask a house cleaning question, and I get to help you find an answer. I know, super exciting. There is a young lady that wrote into the show, and she suspects at 12 years old that she might be an entrepreneur. And she wanted to know from me, was I always an entrepreneur, or is that something that you were taught? And do you need to be an entrepreneur in order to run a cleaning business? And then she went on to ask a few other questions. Was I ever a failure at being an entrepreneur, and so on? Great questions. And I really wanted to honor this by answering the question. I was always an entrepreneur. I sure was. From a very early age, there was a woman who taught me how to crochet, knit, and tat. And she helped me set up a sale at the local library where I could sell bookmarks that I had made, that I tatted, and then I would sell them wholesale and they would sell them retail. So that was my first kind of foray into sales and marketing in a small business. I had lots of brothers, and my brothers were scouts. And so we would go to sell Scoutorama tickets, and I would always go with them. Not because I wanted to sell tickets, but I wanted to learn how to sell. I knew that I was not very good at it, and I knew that the more I did sell, the more I would overcome that fear. So we went around door to door to door trying to sell Scoutorama tickets, and we weren't having very good luck. And all the other scouts had already been there. So they'd say, oh no, we already bought from the other scouts. So I went home to my mother and I said, is there a way we could bake some chocolate chip cookies? Because I know people love chocolate chip cookies, right? So my mother had these little plates. She would make chocolate chip cookies, and she put 6 cookies on the plate, wrapped it with saran wrap, and we would take these to people's houses. And we would say, for every purchase that you make, we will give you a little plate of cookies. Now, I realized very early on that if I was just giving cookies away, I did not get anything in return. So the 6 cookies became 5 cookies, and the 1 cookie that was missing was my commission. And so I would get to someone's house and I would say, hey, listen, here's the deal. If you buy this, I can give you a little plate of cookies, but you have to give one of those back to me as my commission. And they were like, what on earth? And so they did. And people thought it was funny. It was hysterical. If somebody did that to me now, I would die laughing and I would say, look, you keep the whole tray of cookies, right? I thought it was funny now, but when I was a kid, that's how I was going to get paid. I was going to get paid with 1 cookie from each plate. So I gave them the ticket after they purchased it, and then I would give them a plate with 5 cookies, and they would give me 1 cookie back, which was the 6th cookie. So I learned really early on that what you give somebody, they give you something in return. And so my suggestion to you, if you're just starting out in the business, because yes, I was always an entrepreneur, and I figured out little things along the way that would help me make money. I had lots of little businesses. I sold pine cone wreaths. I just picked up the free pine cones and I decorated them and I put lights in them and I made these amazing wreaths, and then I sold them for about $35. And then I went to corporations and I started taking massive orders so that I could sell them and they could decorate their offices and their warehouses. So there were lots of little businesses that I had along the way. But in order to spin off into house cleaning, what was really important for me is to learn how to follow the rules, and then to learn creative ways, not to sidestep the rules, but in case something doesn't work out right, to be resourceful in order to get the end result, okay? So 2 things. The first is following rules, and you have to follow the rules in order to survive in any business. And so if someone has a rule that you must be on time, you must be on time. If they have a rule that you turn in an invoice at a certain time, you turn in the invoice at a certain time. You have to follow the rules if you're going to run a successful business. The resourcefulness part comes where things are not working out right, and you have to figure out another way. So for example, you might get to a situation as a business owner where you have a bill to pay and you don't have the money. And so you have to follow the rules of paying the bill, but you don't have the money. So what do? You become resourceful. And so you go back to the vendor and you say, hey, listen, I don't have the money. Is there something I have that we can barter with? Can we do a trade so that you still get something for the money that I owe you, but I don't have the money to pay you now? And you have to start looking at things from a little bit different angle, kind of like I did when I was a kid, where I was like, this isn't working out selling the Scoutorama tickets. We need something else. And so with the chocolate chip cookies that my mother was able to make, we were able to do a different deal than just being one of the other people that were selling Scoutorama tickets. So if you are thinking about going into business for your future, and I recommend that you do. I love business owners. Business owners are the future of the world, right? They are the creatives that come up with new ideas and new ways to help and bless the lives of other people. So if you are thinking about being an entrepreneur, I suggest that yes, number 1, you follow the rules for everything that you do. If you have projects, turn them in on time. If you are expected to do something, make sure that the understanding is clear with who it is you're talking to. Make sure that the expectations are clear. Make sure that everything is realistic and that you're not over-promising and under-delivering. Okay, those are elements of being successful as an entrepreneur. And then the last thing that I recommend is ask yourself 3 ways for everything that you do. Is there a different way I could do this? And if there was a different way, how would I do that? And is there yet a different way? Now, you might come back to the original way you were going to do it in the first place, but if you ask yourself 3 times, how do I do this situation differently? What happens is it starts the creative juices flowing, and you start realizing, wait a second, there's another way that's going to take less amount of time, less amount of energy, less amount of resources, and I can get the same result in the end. And that is the secret to being an entrepreneur, is to look creatively at the other opportunities around you. So I loved your question. I hope this gave you a few ideas on what you might be able to do as you move forward through your youth, through your teenage years, and then also as you move through to become an entrepreneur and a business owner. So keep me posted. I am super excited for you. If you have comments, leave them in the notes below. I would love to hear what you have to say. And until we meet again, leave the world a cleaner place than when you found it.